So I'm trying something a bit different with this video and just doing a bit more of a brain vomit on ya. Sorry about that. Hopefully it's not too gross. But I didn't really have a super big plan for this video. I kind of just felt like making something. My personal life is super busy. I'm about to go on vacation as well for about a week. So yeah, my video making time is rather limited and I just kind of felt like making something. Background footage in this video is background, so feel free to listen to it like a podcast. Footage in the background is some of the drawings and little illustrations I made, or not so little, some of them. There's 3 of them that I made when I was kind of on a bit of a creative break from YouTube, kind of just went off and did my own thing. That was also the period where I was like, I'm gonna quit YouTube, but then didn't. That same time period in there where I didn't post anything. This is kind of what I made. That probably made 0 sense. But also, yeah, just kind of wanted to, I guess, talk about where I'm at with art. I feel like a lot of the time I'm focusing my videos on, I guess, artistic insights, but I don't really, I talk about where I'm at some, but it's never really the main focus, or at least it's not intentionally. I just try and, I guess, relate back to myself. But yeah, just kind of want to talk about where I'm currently at with art. And I feel like that's the place I'm always at, which is I really don't know. And, you know, I think the longer I do this thing and the longer I draw, I've been drawing about 7 years now, the more I just kind of get comfortable, and you get comfortable just not knowing what you're doing. And I feel like, you know, if you're just starting out as an artist and you think you're going to know what you're doing, you know, 10 years from now or even a year from now, you're probably wrong, unless you're just some sort of freak with insane personal direction. But I don't have that. And, you know, I'm definitely the type of person that like overthinks things and thinks too much about stuff, which I think is, you know, a strength of some of the videos and stuff, and like maybe some of the insights I have. Like I really think about creativity and I really think about art, and I just enjoy the process of making things and all that stuff. But also at the same time, you know, it's really not that deep. And if you go back and watch a couple of my videos, I'll put like a little card thing, I don't know what they call it nowadays, on screen. But when I took that like break / briefly quit YouTube for like half a month or whatever, maybe a month, 2 months, I don't even really know how long it was. You know, I really wasn't making art for the right reasons. And, you know, I'm now at a place where I'm super at peace with my creative process. I'm feeling really good, all those things. You know, it's just nice to be here finally. And I think that's kind of the weird thing is because like I still don't really know what I'm doing. Right? I just kind of do what I like and hope other people like it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, and that's okay. But also at the same time, like I don't really care, you know. I love it if people enjoy the videos. I love it if people enjoy my artwork, all those things. But at the same time, you know, I really lent into this relationship with my artwork where when I'm making it, I'm super invested and I love it. But once I post something or share it, like I could really just care less about it. And I think it's a healthy relationship for me to have with my work. You know, I'm not super, I mean, I'm very invested, of course, right? I love making art and love the process, but you know, once essentially the art baby's birthed, the drawing or video or whatever you have, you know, what have you's made, you know, I kind of send it off to go graduate college and get a job and have a life without me. You know what I mean? That's all obviously an analogy. Your artwork is not actually a child, but it is kind of in a way. But, you know, really, I'm kind of in a point now that I've gotten over kind of all these personal hurdles and artistic hurdles of, you know, essentially being in my own way. That's such a big part of it, or a big part of my journey at least, where I'm kind of just trying to figure out what I want to do. I'm kind of in a spot of, you know, like I said, enjoying making things and just doing stuff. I kind of let go of my goals a bit, like I said, because I was doing or working towards them for the wrong reasons. But now I'm kind of trying to, I think, slowly reintegrate and figure out what my goals are, because goals are important, right? Creativity and art without goals is like wildfire, right? It just spreads and there's no focus, there's no style, right? There's no focus. Focus is a good word for it. So I'm kind of just really trying to find my focus. Yeah, part of that over my whole artistic journey has been represented by my constant flip-flop from traditional to digital art. And, it's obviously okay to do both, right? Especially if you're doing this as a hobby. And to a large, at this point, I am doing this as a hobby. I love it. And I would say it's, in some cases, I treat it like a job. As I've said, I work a creative job for my professional job. I'm a video editor, essentially, videographer. But I'm kind of tired of the flip-flop, at least, from traditional and digital art. Of course, I'm probably always going to do both to some degree. But in regards to what I share, right, is what I'm talking about. What I share online. Obviously who I am online is it's to some degree entirely different to who I am as a person, right? You, the viewer on YouTube, just see the super maybe not super artistic. I'm giving myself too much credit, but the more artistic side of me, it's no one that you see online. It's a whole parasocial relationship thing, right? You don't ever see all sides of a person just by what they post. So there's plenty of drawings that none of you will ever see, right? And that's okay. Not everything should be shared. And not everything needs to be shared. I definitely don't share the awful drawings I make most of the time, right? You see the good stuff, the highlight reel, essentially. And I think that's obviously okay too, but kind of circling back, I've always had this battle with what I want to focus on sharing, whether it's digital or traditional. And for a long time, I'm the kind of person that kind of puts a lot of pressure, and I felt like I had to pick one thing, and I don't think I have to now, like I'm saying. But I'm kind of still trying to figure out that. That's a big problem right now. Problem, not problem. And it kind of leads to a broader problem of I enjoy so many things about creativity. And, throughout my artistic career, I've done photography. Like I said, I do video professionally. I've done some semblance of very, very poor graphic design. Arguably drawing is a form of design too, just through a different creative lens. I mean, it's all design technically. I did some music as a kid. I took acting classes in school, very minimal ones. I'm not an actor or anything. But I do a lot of creative things, right? And I enjoy just being creative. But because I enjoy the core of it, it's so hard to pick, dude. Like I said, I've gone back and forth from this digital traditional, and for a lot of it, it's thinking, what would little kid me like me to do right now, and that doesn't have to be a super serious thing. It's just that's more of the question of what do I as a person at my core enjoy? Because odds are, if I'm really, really enjoying it at my core, you will too, right? Or there's a greater chance of that happening. And that's kind of how art's made, right? Good art is made. I've been playing through, this is a very tangential thing, but I've been playing through Mina the Hollower on Switch, and you can just feel the love in that game, and I love it because I can feel the love in it. There's so many little details, whether it's the lighting shifting as you go through street lamps, the reflection in the mirror, just all these little details, the way she animates on a quarter turn, so many little artistic touches in that game. I want my work to feel that way too, right? And I think, at a high artistic level, that's what makes art great. And it's the thing AI also can never replicate as well. Kind of loosely wrapping up here. I feel like this video is kind of about everything and nothing at the same time, but loosely wrapping up here, the thing that I'm trying now, I'm gonna kind of just follow this direction, and hopefully you'll go on it with me, is pixel art. So maybe 2 years ago, I dabbled in it, and I'll see if I can find the drawings. And for work, because I do video, I animate, right? I know motion graphics and stuff like that. It's different, obviously, than actual hand animation. But, I did I dabbled in that for a while. I did maybe 4 drawings back in the day. I was it was fun, but I was still in that mode of I feel I need to decide on one thing. I can't just have fun. So I kind of pushed it off to the side. And then I forget what I saw. I think it might have just been Mina. I was playing Mina, and I was why don't I try pixel art? So I picked it back up, and I made this. Something about it, it's so, I don't paint, right? I'm a terrible painter, but I can paint in pixel art. or I feel like I can okay. Like I still have like stuff to work out and kinks to work out in pixel art, you know, right? Like it's a new medium basically. So there's going to be flaws and mistakes, like poor curves in some of my pixels and stuff like that. But you know, I was playing Mina and I was thinking like, man, I used to love like all the games I played as a kid, because I grew up in like the Game Boy era. It was all pixel art, right? My whole childhood was pixel artwork. Like I grew up on like the high fantasy, like Skyrim concept art and stuff, like when I was in high school. But like little kid Zach really only looked at pixel art and those chunky PS1 graphics. And I drew this and I felt such a connection to it. Yeah, I think like I'm just gonna give this a shot. I'm just gonna stick with pixel art maybe for like the next 3 to 4 months, maybe the rest of the year. See how it goes. See what level I can get to with it. And you know, weirdly, like I've always been able to express myself through art, but I feel like this just feels clean to me. And I made this like another doing these two pieces, the kind of the wide shot, and then three pieces, sorry, wide kind of dark, ghostly, spooky image, the 1-bit animation of the spaceships, and then this kind of close-up 12-color portrait essentially of a pilot. And this is gonna sound weird, but like I haven't had fun making art in this way, I don't think, ever. So, you know, I feel like that's something to consider. And yeah, hopefully I'm on the right track.